In this video, I will show you 5 smooth chord progressions in F-sharp major that will help you master this beautiful key in a simple and fun way. For each chord progression, you'll also find a harmonic analysis in Roman numerals so you can transpose the progressions to other keys. We'll begin with the 2 simplest progressions, and then, with the 3rd and 4th, we'll explore some of the most useful techniques for enriching the harmonic texture in your arrangements. And don't miss the 5th and final progression, as it's an example of how to combine different progressions to create a more developed structure. If you would like to listen to all 5 progressions in sequence without explanations, you'll find them all together at the end of this video. Let's start with a progression based on the circle of fifths using 7ths for almost all the chords. To make the progression very easy to play, we'll use only the 3 most important notes of each chord. For major and minor 7th chords, we'll play the root, 3rd, and 7th. For the chord on the 7th degree, which is supposed to be an E-sharp diminished in the key of F-sharp major, we'll apply a tasty variation. First, we'll use a diminished 7th, which is the note D, making this chord non-diatonic because it includes a note not belonging to the F-sharp scale. Then, we'll play it in 2nd inversion, omitting the root. This makes it much easier to think of it as a B minor 6th without the 5th. Before moving on, if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you can stay updated as soon as I release more videos like this. Progression number 2 is dedicated to one of the most commonly used progression in popular music, known as the turnaround. If we observe the turnaround starting from the 2nd chord, considering the sequence 6-2, 5-1, we find ourselves looking at nothing more than a part of the circle of fifths. Yet, compared to progression number 1, this time we will always include fifths for each chord, and we will add new colors using added ninths and suspended chords. Additionally, in the final cadence, we will use an altered dominant chord, which features the beautiful flat ninth, which is the note D, resulting in a non-diatonic chord as explained in progression number 1. Progression number 3 is more colorful and features a couple of interesting elements. The first is the presence of a G-sharp 7, borrowed from the key of D-sharp major, which is the parallel key of the relative minor of F-sharp major. There's also a final backdoor cadence where instead of a typical to 5-1, we are using the minor 4th degree, the flatted 7th, and the tonic. In the key of F-sharp, this becomes B minor 7, E7, F-sharp. Note that the B minor 7 and E7 chords can be seen as borrowed from the parallel key of F-sharp minor. Now, let's look at progression number 4. The interesting aspects to note are the use of a couple of inversions applied to the chords on the 1st and 5th degrees at the beginning of the progression, and then the use of a triton substitution in the final cadence. Briefly, by triton substitution, we mean using a 7th chord that replaces the dominant chord in a typical 5-to-1 progression to the target chord, having in its structure the same diminished 5th interval between the 3rd and 7th as the chord it replaces, albeit with their roles reversed. The 5th progression is actually a combination of the 1st and 2nd progressions. The first section is a turnaround, but it's enriched by the use of a secondary dominant in the transition between the first and sixth degrees. The second section is similar to the progression number 1, based on the circle of fifths, even though this time the chords include the fifth. There are also some key elements. The first is the different color of the chord on the 7th degree, which is formally an E-sharp diminished 6 over B, but can be thought of as AC sharp 7 over B. Then, the use of a secondary dominant, D-sharp 7, takes the place of what would normally be a D-sharp minor in a standard circle of fifths progression. Lastly, in the final cadence, we again find an altered dominant chord featuring the non-diatonic flat ninth, as explained in progression number 2. To conclude this video, here are all 5 progressions played in sequence without interruptions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments and if you would like to see more progressions in the key of F sharp major. Keep making music and see you next time.